Mr. Kamoy, I really appreciate you noting FEMA's role both before, during, and after disaster. And I want to touch on FEMA's communication and coordination challenges with state and local governments, something that all of you have touched on during your testimony. A community I serve, the village of Ruidoso, New Mexico, has been struggling for more than 10 years to negotiate federal assistance for extensive flooding that occurred back in 2008. Based on guidance from FEMA, the village awarded contracts for bridge replacements and is in the process of awarding contracts for extensive sewer repairs. As I understand it now, after a significant portion of the work is complete, FEMA has decided that some of the projects are no longer eligible for federal assistance. And after 10 years of slow correspondence, challenging regulations, and employee turnover, we're seeing local officials that have been given a June 2020 deadline to complete all remaining construction. Mr. Kamoy, I don't expect you to have the details on this particular situation, but can I have your commitment today that someone at FEMA will look further into this issue and communicate its findings with my office and the village of Ruidoso?
Absolutely, Chairwoman Torres Small.
Thank you.
One word on our assistance or our coordination with state and local government. And a development, I believe, certainly since Katrina, is our procurement disaster assistance team. This is a team of highly trained attorneys and contract specialists that we deploy to disasters to provide guidance to our state and local partners on federal procurement requirements and the requirements of our public assistance grant program. And in FY19 thus far, they have been deployed to 80% of declared disasters. So we recognize the importance of providing good guidance.
Thank you. And I'm glad to see that improvement made. The challenge is rehashing kind of what happened in 2008 before a lot of these improvements were made.
You have my commitment. We'll follow up.
Thank you. Now I'm shifting a bit. FEMA's 2017 After Action report found that the agency's advanced contracts were exhausted after the hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria. And so FEMA committed to awarding new contracts for future storms. I noted that you recognize there are 87 current contracts. What is FEMA's process for determining that number, and what types of contracts that are issued for advanced contracts?
That's a great question, Chairwoman Torres Small. We work with our program offices, the Office of Response and Recovery. We look at the needs of, essentially the last several disaster seasons to understand where, had we had advanced contracts in place, we might have delivered, more quickly or more comprehensively. So it's a lessons learned process and working with our field offices in our regions to understand what it is we would need in place to put the right agreements in place.
Are you confident you have all of the advanced contracts you need for the 2019 hurricane season?
Yes.
In December 2018, a GAO report found that FEMA did not have an up-to-date strategy and clear guidance for its own contracting staff on the use of advanced contracts. And Ms. Trimble noted how such guidance could have helped in avoiding the contracting mistakes with Bronze Star. Mr. Kamoy, what steps is FEMA taking to address GAO's finding?
I appreciate the question, Chairwoman Torres Small. We do hold regular training with our disaster procurement staff, and in fact, from April 29th to May 3rd, we had over 100 of our staff, including a disaster acquisition response team in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've looked at the agenda of that multiple day training, and it includes everything from advanced contracting to local set-asides to documentation required when we deviate from local set-asides. So we continually provide training and guidance to our staff.
Thank you. And Ms. Mack, how would you assess that response so far?
Our concern with the training is that when they provide the training, they have an advanced contract list that is different than what FEMA headquarters has as their consolidated advanced contract list. When there's two resources being used as advanced contract lists and they differ, it causes differences of what the states and localities know, and within FEMA, they don't know what advanced contract lists are, what they're using. And both of those, we talk to officials, they're using both of those as resources. That inconsistency creates confusion. It creates, okay, what can I use? What's really available within FEMA? And then externally to the states and localities. It again, creates confusion, so the states and localities don't really know what's available from the federal government.
Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you.